Last year, when Mojang announced that they would be switching from an update system to a drop system for Minecraft, they were met with overall what was a pretty positive response from the community and player base. Alongside all of the excitement, though, there was also a fair bit of worry that the drop system might not be what's best for the game. With the update system, we would only really get one release of content per year, whereas now with the new drop system, we get multiple releases. But they are, of course, much smaller and vary in size quite greatly. And today, I will be trying to answer the question of if drops are really better for Minecraft or not. When it was first revealed, the idea behind the drop system seemed like a great one. Mojang would have more freedom in what they could work on for the game, and would be able to better improve it in all of these miscellaneous areas, whereas with the update system they would be bound to one theme per year. And there was this growing criticism that the Minecraft updates that we were getting were beginning to feel kind of shallow, like Mojang was releasing them just for the sake of putting out content, not really focusing on what the game needed to improve. And there was some pretty solid sense behind this criticism. Minecraft had for a long time needed things like the end update, or perhaps something like a villager and enchanting update. And at first, it seemed like drops would offer the perfect chance for Mojang to improve those sorts of things like enchantments, because that's the type of thing that you would think they wouldn't be willing to dedicate an entire update to. Mojang likely wouldn't want to take an entire year to focus on something like progression when not every player cares about that, really. So, for a lot of people who had been wanting these more meaningful changes to Minecraft for a while, the drop system was something that could give them hope. And the first sort of minor drop that we had announced at Minecraft Live that year went a bit under the radar. That was the Bundles of Bravery drop, which did help with the inventory problem, but that drop didn't get a lot of attention from most people because, of course, bundles were nothing new. We had seen them first years ago. And then the drop that did get a lot more attention at Minecraft Live and was a lot more hyped up was the Gardens Awakens drop. It introduced an interesting new biome and mob with some unique mechanics, but the thing about it was that it was a lot like Tricky Trials and Trails and Tales, with that same criticism that it was just more unrelated new content that didn't really focus on enhancing areas of the game that needed enhancement. In other words, it was more of the exact same thing that we had been seeing, just on a smaller scale. Let me be clear here, I don't mean to say that having unrelated new content is necessarily a bad thing. Not every single update needs to focus on improving some lackluster area of the game. But we had had many major updates in a row that were just new content. Generally speaking, I think the ideal thing would be for Mojang to alternate, do some updates that are focused on enhancing the game's aspects, then do some other updates that are just exciting new content. But when the Gardens Awakens drop, the first major drop was just more of the same. If I'm gonna be honest here, that did shake my faith a little bit in the drop system. But now we have the spring drop, a drop that is focused on enhancing areas of the game that need enhancing. This one in particular focusing on nature in the overworld. A proper nature and ambience update was something that Minecraft had been needing for quite some time. And I really like the features that Mojang has added so far. Having fireflies back in any form is great, but I can't help but feel like this isn't as good as it could have been. A nature update could have easily been something that had an entire year dedicated to it, with adding things like the old biome vote losers, new mobs in nature, some improved terrain generation, and new features that can generate on the terrain. And of course, more ambient sounds and particles. And really, with all of that potential, this drop does just feel a bit underdone. Like it's just too small for the subject that it is trying to tackle. There isn't much, if any, really, time left for new content in this drop. The snapshot cycle should be wrapping up soon, and having been keeping up with the snapshots pretty closely, it just feels somewhat incomplete, the spring drop. Mojang added ambient sounds for the desert and the Badlands, but then they didn't add in ambient sounds for any other biome in the overworld, aside from the noises that are played by fireflies at night, but even the fireflies feel somewhat underdone. They're fairly rare to come across because they only generate in certain biomes, which of course makes sense to a degree, but when they do, they only do so in pretty small patches, and not that many actual fireflies are around each plant. It also would have been nice if there was some way to interact with them, like putting them in jars or something basic like that. Or I'm sure Mojang could have done something more creative instead, but they just didn't do anything. Fireflies are something that people have wanted for so long, but they just feel a bit underdone right now. And also with this drop, you can see Mojang has enhanced the temperate and warm biomes greatly with all of these new plants, but they didn't add in anything for the cold biomes aside from the new animal variants. I don't want to sound too whiny here. I am really happy that Mojang is finally focusing on one of the areas of Minecraft that needed more attention. I just wish they would do it more justice. I imagine many other people would be fine with Mojang taking more time to work on this drop. But it feels like Mojang is kind of rushing it out so that they can move on to whatever's next that they'll reveal at Minecraft Live. So we're kind of facing the same problem that we did with the larger updates, them often being rushed. In fact, you could have made the same criticism of the Pale Garden drop, where the Pale Garden was such a deadly biome, maybe the most dangerous biome in the game aside from the Deep Dark, that the rewards that you got for going there weren't really enough, especially if you're someone who didn't really care for the look of the resin blocks. Anyway, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below about the drop system. I haven't abandoned hope since Mojang did say they will still be doing some larger updates. So if we do get something, say, like an end update, hopefully that will be done full justice in the future. To wrap this up, I do think the drop system opens up the realm of possibility for a lot of good things in Minecraft's future. But just like before with the update system, it is, I think, ultimately going to come down to how much Mojang actually cares about improving the game. We will probably just have to wait and see. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, and for now, goodbye.